Today we're having a discovery meeting, and the purpose of this meeting is to share how She Publishing LLC collaborates with the author, the illustrator, and the marketer in bringing a book to life. Now, with us today, we have a few players to this game. We have the author, Amon Smith. Welcome. We have Chrissy, who is our innovations manager for She Publishing LLC. We have our marketer, Joan. Joan Moore, and then we have our illustrator, the illustrator to this amazing project, Thomas. So now we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about the 10 tips for marketing a children's book. So we're going to start with Joan. Now, Joan, how you doing?
Good, Shanitha. How are you?
I'm great. Now, not only are you the CEO and founder of Marketing to Connect, you also have written a children's book series called Pickles. Now, from your perspective and firsthand experience, what are 10 tips for marketing a children's book?
Thanks for that question, Shanitha. First of all, the purpose of marketing is to build your brand and to get your children's book promoted. I have 10 tips for you today for marketing a children's book, and I have divided these into two categories. The first category is face-to-face, and the second category is screen-to-screen, also known as digital. Let's start with face-to-face. The first tip is have a book launch party. You have great accomplishments in writing and publishing a children's book. Why not celebrate? Get everyone together to celebrate your accomplishments and have a book launch party. That way you can get your book out there and you can get found. The second tip is buy a booth at a book fair or a local event. This is traffic where people are coming in. And guess what? These people already love books. If they're attending a book fair, they already love books. They are your readers. They are your influencers. So you want to make sure that you go and buy a booth at a book fair or a local event. The third tip is create promotional items. And as you can see, Shanitha is an expert at this because she is wearing her She Publishing t-shirt. Stand up, Shanitha, so people can see your t-shirt a little bit. Awesome. She Publishing. Shout out to She Publishing. You want to have a bookmark, stickers, t-shirts, things like that will promote your brand as well as your book. The fourth tip is do an author reading. You can have a book reading at a local library, at a school library, maybe a community bookstore. And when you have that reading, you want to leave behind a copy of your book, right? Probably an autographed copy of your book, just to create the memory. And also, these are places where people go to read books, and this is another place where you can get found. The next category is screen to screen or digital. And it is time for you to get digitally fit. How do you do that? You want to create a digital presence. You want to create a website and or a Facebook page. And that way you can put all things about your book on your website or your Facebook page. And the sixth tip is do a video of your book reading. That way, once you've read your book, you're the author. And that is authentic. You are reading your book and when you do your video, you can put it on your website, you can put it on your Facebook page, and you're getting digitally fit. The seventh tip is start a digital book club. That way you have the online presence, you have people in your book club, you could have a discussion about your book, give discussion questions to the readers, and just have a fun time. And the eighth tip is word of mouth advertising. Now, this is where it could overlap with the other category of face to face and screen to screen. You could have word of mouth advertising face to face. You could have word of mouth advertising screen to screen. And that is a great way to promote your book. That's probably the best way to promote your book, word of mouth advertising. You've got people who have read your book and they can give you testimonials about the book, and you can place that on your website, your Facebook page. And the ninth tip is build a community. Build a digital community online with Facebook. You could have LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, also your YouTube channel. You definitely want to capitalize on your YouTube channel. And all of these tips are so you can build your brand and get found. Last but not least is tip number 10, and that is build a customer database. Why would you want to build a customer database? It's extremely important. Number one, you want to know who has bought your book, and you can send them an email and you can thank them for purchasing your book. You can also send them emails about upcoming events that you're going to be at. You can send emails about upcoming books that you're going to write. So, assuming that you're not just one and done, you don't just write one book and you're finished, you want to definitely keep connected, stay connected with your influencers, with your readers, because again, that word of mouth advertising is going to work extremely well for you. These are 10 tips for marketing a children's book. Remember, you have face to face and you also have digital. Especially in today's society, digital is extremely important, but you want to leverage both categories. You want to make sure that you build your brand and that you get digitally fit and get promoted. That's how people find you, and that's how they're going to love your book. You're going to create the buzz. You're going to talk about your book. They're going to talk about your book. And that's the way that you promote your children's book with 10 marketing tips. Thank you, Shanita.
Thank you, Joan. So those were some very valuable tips. And the beauty of that is She Publishing will help the author in, keeping the buzz of the book, because we do have author websites that we do for our authors. We will, again, as Joan said, create that buzz. So now that we talked about the marketing, because again, that's very essential to the launch of the book. Now we want to talk to the author. So now I just want to welcome Amon Smith. How you doing, Amon?
I'm good. Hey, everybody.
So we're here for you, Amon, and I just have a few questions for you today.
Okay.
What inspired you to want to write this book?
I love kids. I think that they're pretty cool, and I just want to do something cool for kids. It's really just that simple. Like, I don't have there's no end game. Um, I don't have a dollar amount that I'm trying to get off of the books or anything like that. I just want to get the kids that don't have so much hope a little.
I love it. I really love your meaning around wanting to write this book. So, what's the name
You
of
know,
your book? Do you have the name of the book yet?
I do. And listen, man, everybody that's on this call, I really appreciate y'all patience with me. This is my first time doing something like this. So I know I'm all over. I'm panicking. I'm calling y'all in the middle of the night and sending text messages like the thought has changed. We're going in a different direction. I appreciate y'all's patience with me, man. Um, I came up with a name for the book at the last meeting, and I have changed that. The name of the book is gonna be the character's name. So Kodi Blackman will be the name of the book, and then each installation of a new book will have a different subtitle. So, like, if we go with roaches for the first one, then it's fine to use Kodi Blackman as the name of the book, and then the subtitle will be Intrusion. And then we'll just let that carry on, for whatever pest we're managing for the next books to come.
Okay, that sounds awesome, Aman. I love the idea. Now, this whole thing, just for our listeners, the whole book is kind of around what you do in your current career,
Hmm.
and you are an exterminator. So, can you tell us a little bit about that, and tell us a day in the life of an exterminator?
Okay, so the first thing that we have to realize is that I did not set out to be an exterminator at all. I was a sit behind a desk, customer service, sales. I did a little bit of real estate. Everything was pushing, letters on a keyboard for all of my professional career. Um, I'm I actually was terrified of pests, like especially mice. I've moved my family out of an apartment because I saw one mouse before. So 5 years ago, you couldn't have paid me to be an exterminator 5 years ago. Fast forward to now, a lot of things have changed. I started exterminating. I got over fear. I started making money doing it. We created a company. Things are going great. Um, and so that led us down this path, right? And so to answer your question, the day of the exterminator pretty much goes as they report on time. They get their workload for the day, get their supplies, and then they run around the city and they exterminate. They may have 3 or 4 bed bug jobs, a couple of roast jobs, and a couple of mice jobs throughout the day. Um, during during the course of the day, they obviously like take a lunch and they're moving around and stuff like that. But they go complete the task. They report on it accurately through the software that we use, and they come on back to the office, put the truck up, and go about their normal day.
Okay, so I like that. And again, just we've talked a number of times already. And so some of the things that will be included in your book will be about the other alternatives for career. We want to make sure in this story that we are educating the children on extermination, the jargon that's going to be being used, as
Hmm.
well as we want the story to be relatable and instill values into our children. So, again, like I told you before, I'm super excited about this project, and I am so honored that you have chose She. And so, just my final question for you: why did you decide to go with She Publishing LLC?
Uh, y'all family. I mean, I wouldn't have went nowhere else. Nobody at Barnes and Noble could have brokered me. Like y'all family, man. We're gonna keep it in the family, and we're gonna make a lot of dope books. Make a lot of potential. There's a huge lane of possibilities. It could be wherever it goes. Um, she publishing Thomas Hall will definitely be a part of the journey um, for the long haul. So if we go out and we have one book and it doesn't make $1, we did that together. If we
Yes, we
end
did.
up on the big screen and we start making movies and all that type of stuff, we're doing that together. So y'all are family. I love y'all, and the decision it wasn't a decision to be made. Like it's just what it was.
All right. Well, thank you, Yvonne. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the things that She Publishing LLC has discussed regarding the components of your book. To help me do that, we have Chrissy, one of our innovations managers here at She Publishing LLC. And I'd like to welcome her so that she can talk about some of the components of your book.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, we're thinking about the book being in the following order. So, we are suggesting that we start with the order of the title, the copyright, and the dedication pages. Then we would like to progress into the story, and then we would like to go on to the what will happen next, then to the glossary with exterminator jargon. And so with that page or with the glossary, we will just have some, just so the readers will be able to understand some of the words and some of the terms that's commonly used with extermination that will be included in that glossary so that they could be well informed. And then next, we will have an informational page that will kind of discuss the rodents and things that were talked about inside the storyline. And then we would have a page about the author, and the back cover would be just the moral of the story. So, do we have any questions before I move on?
Do have suggestions, and I don't know if this is the time to put this out there or should I wait for a minute. But I do have key points um, that I've come up with that I want the storyline to flow as such. Is this the time for that, or should I wait?
You can do that right now. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, so I've been doing some homework, y'all. So we went over the name of the book. Um, I think that Kodi should live in the projects. Um, he lives in the projects. Each project building gives us an opportunity for that building to pose a potential threat or a problem that Kodi needs to assist with. That gives us endless possibilities, right? Because in a project complex, you may have 30 buildings, right? So if each building there's an issue, a problem, a kid that's within that building that needs some help getting over a hurdle, somebody's bullying him, there whatever the case may be in the details. But each building will allow us platform to be able to address something. Um, I think that Cody's power needs to rest within his can. So if everybody does everybody have this picture of Cody?
It's an amazing
If
picture.
Yeah, Thomas did his thing with this, right? But he's coming up with different sketches of Cody without the mask and different um different moves and all that type of stuff. But I think that the power should be in the can. The can has endless possibilities. It can make him fly. The can turn into a car. It can do whatever. Within the first book, Kodi solves 2 or 3 issues, right? Whether that be within one building in the projects or he goes to a couple of buildings within the projects, he's able to address 2 or 3 different issues within this first book. And then at the end of the book, Kodi is he's considering taking his powers and his abilities outside of the project and being able to, address concerns throughout the city.
Okay. That sounds good, Ron. That sounds good. I'm glad you've been doing your homework.
I've been doing homework.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna let Chrissy. We're going to add that to our storyboard, but we're gonna continue with Chrissy and some more of the details of your book, just so you can know maybe the number of pages and the different things, how we're gonna put the book together.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm love what I'm hearing so far. I'm hearing some great ideas. I'm excited. So, moving on to the actual physical details of the book. So, we are thinking to do a perfect bound, paperback, gloss, or matte. And then, as far as the number of pages, we are suggesting to start with 32 to 60 pages, um, about 5 to 10 lines to reach our audience on each page, because our audience is between the ages of 5 to 10, with the dimensions of a 6.25 and a 10.25, or a 8.5 by 8.5. Then we are moving on to the illustrated pages. We're thinking about 15 to 30 illustrated pages, and we would like to include maybe some black and white and with the illustrations, and then about 20 additional pages of text. Then And then we think this story is so amazing. We would love for it to expand its influence on our potential audience. So we are thinking to cross over and do a Spanish version down the line.
I like
So
it
I have any
a lot.
questions? You like it? Okay, great.
Well, thank you, Chrissy, so much for explaining that. And again, Amon, anything that you don't understand, we'll make sure to elaborate that at our next consultation. Okay, so now we want to make sure we are giving the illustrator what he needs. And I now like to welcome Thomas to the floor. How you doing, Thomas?
Hey, how's everyone doing?
We're doing great. We're so glad to have you here today. I want to ask you a few questions about the storyboard because I want to make sure we're giving you exactly what you need and how we should actually deliver the text to you. So, but before we begin, I just want to know what inspired you to become an artist?
Um, I'm just a creative person, so maybe even a little bit better might be a bit of my background. I have a bachelor's degree in digital illustration from the American Academy of Art in Chicago. Um, I have been a freelance slash entrepreneur now for the last 7 years. I have illustrated and art directed on 2 children's books previously, and I help uh, startup businesses with their visual content. So this is kind of like right up my alley, and I've known Amon for quite some time, and obviously he undersells himself because he's not just an exterminator; he's an entrepreneur. He's someone who built his own business, and so that to me is an admirable trait. And when you see someone who works hard and wants to bring something to life, that's inspiring to me and makes me want to put in the effort. But as far as just being an artist, it's really just comes down to me wanting to be creative, and I've always been attracted to visual cues. So, superheroes and cartoons and anything that is brightly lit and brightly colored have always um, intrigued me. And since I'm a visual learner, those are things that I want to emulate, and kind of why that inspires me to do that for other people.
Wow. Amazing. You have a long resume. I'm loving it. So, with She Publishing, what we're going to do is we're going to be providing you with the text for the illustrations of the now Kodi Blackman. So, how should we send that to you? Should we send it to you in sections? Do you want us to lay it out in what page we're going to have the wording in? But what will work best for you, especially since you've done this before?
Right. So there's a lot of different ways that we could go about this. Listening to the page breakdown, it instantly brought up a couple of questions that I think need to be firmly uh, put just confirmed for me, so I understand how we're going about this. So, sounded to me from the description, what you guys are trying to do is going to be a full page alongside text. So you'll have a text style page, and then on to the right or left, however we end up storyboarding in the layout of the book. You want to do a single page illustration, or are we doing maybe a hybrid of some single page? Maybe we change up to some full page stuff just to kind of keep some interest in not having a redundancy in the presentation. I think there are a couple of different ways we go about this. Um, so I'm just wondering what the how that is envisioned, or is that been not even put into stone yet?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, Thomas. What we do want to do is do some different versions. So we definitely don't just want to stick with a picture on one side and text on another side. We actually want to collaborate the illustrations with the text, as well as some, like you said, some
You mean,
creativity. We want to do some different
integrate?
things.
You
Yes,
mean integrate?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh, okay, that's fine as well. So I guess for the role that I am providing, my question is going to be: am I actually doing the layouts, or am I just providing the illustrations? Am I just submitting you the illustrations, or am I actually going to do the layouts, integrate the text? How is that being foreseen, or has that even been thought of?
Yeah, so as of right now, we did have intentions on formatting the book. So we did want you to send us the electronic illustrations. But I think that's something that we will talk to you more about, and we will come up with a concrete way in which we will do this. Because one of the things I want to do is provide you with the size, the dimensions of the book once we come up with that. We're going to confirm that with Amon maybe this week, so that when you do your illustrations, they can be the dimensions of the book. But again, we can talk about that again as far as
Okay,
the
so
format.
um, once we have agreed on a stylistic approach, I have we have a versatility is kind of my strong suit. So I do traditional, I do digital, I do things that are not going to limit us. Like, I'm not going to be a one trick pony where it's just like, well, this is kind of my style. This is how we. Uh, I want to approach the project in a way that's going to allow it to have its own identity, and then incorporate some of the stylistic nuances that I like to put into the images, but and with the taste and flavor that Aman wants to bring to the book. So I want him to feel like this is a interpretation or stylistic approach that he's going to feel good about, and and have his own unique style and approach, so it doesn't mimic look. It might have some cues that are similar, but it definitely stands on its own in the marketplace.
I love it. Yeah, so we're gonna work very well together. Yeah, because it's definitely
Yeah,
all about the author. Hmm.
right, for sure. So I guess we're from my perspective, I think what would probably be best is let's find out what the main characters are, how many characters need to be uh, created, and then from there, let's make sure that we have the look and the feel of them in place. So then, at this point, I can get comfortable with them, so I can illustrate them in different perspectives, different uh, situations, and they retain that consistency that's important. I don't want it to look like a 10-year-old in one image and a 25-year-old in the other, right? Like, we want to make sure that the images have consistency throughout. And as an illustrator, as an artist, I need to have, I guess, call it alone time with the characters to be able to say, I'm comfortable drawing them in any. It's like someone who loves a superhero. If I draw Spider-Man all the time, I can draw him in all these different ways. I know how he's going to look, and it becomes second nature. So I think that would be an important starting point, just to make sure that we have that element in place, and we agree on the stylistic approach.
Totally agree. So, I mean, I thank you for your versatility in all of this. And this is the reason why I am super excited about this project, because of everybody that we have on the team. So, we will have to, me, you, and Aman, will have to get together, solidify some of this. So I will be talking to Aman more about how we're going to move forward, the characters and everything, because we definitely want to have a love interest involved in this whole thing. I mean, what hero story does not have a love interest? Okay, so we will talk about all that with the storyboard.
You gotta have a lady.
Yeah.
And not just that, but with this guy, Kodi Blackman, is the Spider-Man replacement, right? The kids that grow up in the projects, they think that Spider-Man is goofy. Like they'll beat Spider-Man up. But Kodi Blackman, like that, he's somebody, he's relatable. Like he's cool. He wears fresh gym shoes. Like this kid is like so relatable to them, to where they want to protect him. They don't want to, they want all of the best for Kodi Blackman, because Kodi Blackman takes care of them.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. And so, Aman, so we're going to have to get together with Thomas. So I think we're off to a great start here. So again, I just like to give a special thanks to everyone for being a part of this meeting today. We have our author, Aman Smith, innovations manager, Chrissy, our illustrator, Thomas, the CEO of Marketing to Connect, Joan Moore. Aman, we also have pulled on board a strengths coach for you, because although we're talking about the images that we want for your character, we also want to make sure we include some of your superpowers, some of your innate strengths that you have. So we sent you that link. Okay, make sure you complete that, Aman, and
I will.
the director. So, and I don't even know if I introduced myself. I'm Shaditha Burton, CEO and founder of She Publishing LLC. So thank you guys for joining us today.